Hello, welcome to the Ghost Pepper Lollipop, where the takes are spicy, the host is sweet, and we engage multiple things can be true at the same time, and usually are. I hope y'all had a good week. Had a week. And it's not Wednesday night, so we're taking the W's here. Today, we're going to be looking at one of the things that YouTube suggests to me. They're doing not too bad at it. They want us to be having this conversation, and I'm here for that. I'm appreciative of that. And they're telling me what young men are looking at and looking at discussing, and that's important. If I am going to have this discussion and be honest with young men about the way that women see it and about the way that it really comes across and about the way it harms them, I have to listen to them. And as we learned from my therapy prompts, I do a lot of that, probably more than I should. I did take a day off. I did. It was good. It was kind of delicious. I did a good job. Watched some trash TV, had a break. It was what I needed. And also, I want to let y'all know that I have restarted the green team, which is y'all can come over to the green team when you want. I'll put the link up here and in the description box. We do some live stuff there. I'm not just inviting y'all to purple team or telling y'all how to get there. I'm not going to be doing that. I will, however, invite you to green team. And so we do some stuff through the weekend. I stream live. I have been a live streamer for about 6 years this year, I guess. And I do mostly live stuff. And that's usually what I do. We will be doing Friday is when we premiere this show, and we discuss it in chat. So if you want to come and join us for that, you're welcome to do so. Like I said, I will give you all the link for that down below, and you can be part of the green team and be spoken to live and in person. So Friday we do the premiere of this, and then we discuss another topic from another creator that gets put in front of me, usually one that I like or something like really cursed that we just have to talk about. So we do that on Fridays. Saturdays, we have Solidarity Saturday, and we just have fun together. We just vibe out on being people together and enjoy one another. We play music and we play games, and if you want to come and join the green team for that, please do. Do know Purple Team is my safe space, and y'all won't be invited there. They don't have to deal with icky stuff, but y'all will be adjacent to them, and so you can kind of get the vibe of that, and maybe that will help you want to join those kinds of spaces and be part of real community groups that love each other. I want that for y'all. That's why we're doing this. So come hang out with Green Team. Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. Sundays we do nerdery. The nerdery changes. Last week it was AI stuff. The week before that, I think it was some Wizard of Oz musical. So the nerdery varies. We get very silly and we have a lot of fun. Sometimes we do some gaming. So if you want to come on over, click that link or that'll be down below, or type the thing that'll be here in your box and come and join us. We have some fun on the weekends. I used to do a lot more often, but when I started this project, I needed to balance time. I am new to recording videos and putting them out, the editing and everything. It's a fun learning curve, and it is a learning curve. It's a lot harder. It's a lot more work. And so maybe you'll enjoy hanging out with us live and see what you think there too. We love having people join us, and we always have the conversations that we need to be having. Today, we're going to look at one of those things that YouTube gives me that young men are looking at and engaging, and that's on young men's minds. And this is the Godly Young Men podcast. Actually, this one that we're going to be looking at today is the Think Deeper podcast, which has the Godly Young Men podcast gentlemen in it, because they're all part of the same Christian media company called Focused Press. Now, everybody knows I am very anti-theist. Any theology I am pretty anti, because I see them as very dangerous for a variety of reasons. The key one being that you must abandon skepticism. You must abandon disbelief in order to engage it. And if you don't, you're shunned, you're shamed. Also, they've done a lot of horrible acts in the name of. I am Native American. Chikasha Saya. And I know some of you are going, but you don't look. Well, Puddle, look what colonization has done to my nation. You can't go dipping your wicks in everything that moves and not expect those things to look a little different after. I know, shocking. Are you startled that we still exist and claim our heritage and ourselves above all else? Ooh, does that hurt your little feelies? Wow. Get over it. Anyway, today one of the topics that these gentlemen are discussing is genocide. I had a very, very intimate relationship with genocide survivorship and the generational trauma that comes with that. And so we're going to discuss this, and do know that my passions can run a little high on this subject because I am a descendant of the survivors. And so it is hard for me to discuss this topic and have people simply excuse it, which is what's about to happen, which is what I see often with the people excusing the genocide happening in Gaza. And my heart and soul to you all, cousins in Gaza. My entire heart to you. One of the reasons that I believe that the axis of Epstein, as one creator likes to call them, and I think it's apt, says one of my beliefs, the reason that they started World War Epstein is that they want to complete a genocide that is currently active in Gaza, and they also want to distract you all from the patriarchy hurting children. And I need you to understand how connected those things are due to the fact that the median age of Gazans are children. They're all about 14, or not all, but that's the median age. It's mostly children that are left there. And they did deliberately blow up that girl's school, because inside of that girl's school was the future of Iran. Inside that girl's school, they took roughly 186 little lives that equate to almost 3 times that many futures, if you're looking at it just mathematically, in the reasons why genociders do genocide. They wanted to steal Iran's future, and they wanted to tell them that they could and show them that they could. And further, they wanted to do it and have people excuse it so that those people that they want to control and dictate over and have obey them, so that those people know that they are alone. This is an abuser mentality. And it is very much tied, in my opinion, to the patriarchy. Actually, I think it's showable. And I think that that's what we do here every week. We show how those things are tied to the patriarchy, because they all intersect all of the time. And this faith, the Christian faith, is the one that genocided my people. And they're attached to the ones genociding the Gazans. And so my passions get high on this subject. And this will be hard to listen to these men excuse the genocide of mostly children at this point. So let's go. Let's discuss why this faith and these beliefs are so harmful.
I'll step in here. The first thing that I would say is, because that's a whole nother can of worms. I sometimes think that when we're talking about this genocide question, destroying the nations, that sometimes we lose sight of just how absolutely wicked some of these nations were. I think we can kind of lose sight of that. I think a lot about the section at the end of Genesis 18, where Abraham is interceding for Sodom and basically says, Lord, would you destroy the place if there were 10 righteous people in there? He starts with, I think, 50 and works all the way down to, 10. And God tells him, I would spare it for the sake of 10. Sodom was just that depraved that there weren't even 10 righteous people. And so
notice how they don't tell you what the depravity was or what the crime allegedly was. Just note that.
The point that I would illuminate here
or crimes.
Somebody that's asking this question about, well, how could a loving God, promote genocide? All throughout Old Testament especially, but even the New Testament.
A loving God couldn't. That's the answer there. A loving God couldn't.
We get the point that God shows mercy time and time again.
No, he doesn't. God demands obedience and ego stroking time and time again.
Allows time for repentance time and time again. We just went to a great Bible study on with some of our friends on a Tuesday night where we looked at Nahum. The point is made in Nahum, like, listen, you had your chance to repent. In fact, you did repent with Jonah 100 years prior. God gave them a chance to repent. They did. They didn't pass it down to the generations. And so guess what? They had their time and they were now going to face destruction. God gives chances time and time again.
He doesn't give chances. And the thing is, this is a diluted way of thinking and excusing awful, horrible behaviors and abuses. And Christianity was made as a governmental organization. It was meant to govern people and control people. When Constantine commissioned the Bible, he was looking to make it so that the Christians and the pagans would live cohesively together, and he thought that if they believed in the same deity, that would help immensely. Fuck you, Constantine. Fuck you historically. Anyway, I know it doesn't mean no good to tell him to fuck off. He's long dead. And that faith is not about righteousness. It never has been. It's about obedience and ego stroking, and whether or not you will obey the umbrella of obedience order. I said that weirdly, but I hope you understand it from what I say next. Their umbrella method creates a vertical hierarchy where everyone that is beneath or not as superior to another person on their hierarchy positioning under the umbrella gets a little more squished. So their deity is the top of the umbrella. He must be obeyed above all, and anything he does must be considered good, and you are not allowed to question him or to call him out on something that he does wrong, because you are to consider everything he does as good, no matter what. You are never, ever allowed to question him, to say he did something wrong, to curse him, to anything. He is always right all of the time, even when he is wrong. And he does not care about love or respect or any of these things. He cares only about obedience. And it tells that in their very origin story. And because they suspend disbelief and suspend critical thinking and suspend skepticism and are trained to never, ever, ever question Sky Daddy, or he will burn them in a pit for all of eternity. You see, that's the thing. If you don't obey, you get burned in a pit for all eternity. And this is why we have such a punitive system in society, and why so many people are traumatized and messed up and incapable of managing their emotions. Because instead of going to the mirror, doing the work, sorting through these feelings, discussing with your inner self, and coming out with the truth and the facts and the reality, and coming out with, this is how I want to move forward to have my best experience, they suspend disbelief, get angry if you question anything, and sputter and spit insults and threaten you. Because in order for them to go forward the way that they go forward, they cannot question. They must obey. And they expect for you to as well. And the thing that we are in the habit of is assigning our morals and ethics to other people. So we automatically just do that as people. We want people to be mostly good. And if we're mostly good, we assign those ethics and morals to them. They assume everyone's like them. And they need a world in which the people are like them in order to excuse their behavior, because guilt is an ugly emotion. They don't like it. And so they assign their lack of morals and ethics to the people that they're dealing with and assume that they would do just as bad if given the opportunity. And so it's okay for them to do bad things to them, because if it was reversed, they would too. Kind of a circle jerk of Aurora Boreas ass-eating flavored ass going on there, isn't it? Yeah, I feel like there's some ass-flavored ass going on there. So in their origin story, they tell you really clearly, this is not about free will. This is not about love. This is not about anything other than feeding my ego and obeying me. Sky Daddy tells them that off the jump, and they all just slurp it up. So here's how. I'm not going to tell you their story from the way that their book does. I'm going to tell you what it actually says. When you apply skepticism and critical thinking. So, Sky Daddy makes this guy that looks like him and acts like him, and it is just as insecure as him, and he's lonely. Poor guy is so sad. He's so lonely. And Sky Daddy says, well, I don't want you to be lonely. I don't want to be lonely. That's why I made you. So let me make you a friend. And Sky Daddy says, hey, I'm going to reach inside of you and yank part of you out to do it with. I mean, even though I've got all the stuff of the universe, I'd prefer to do it this way. That way she's inferior to you forever and you get to boss her around. That would be more fun for you, right? And Adam, Sky Daddy's buddy, goes, yeah, I want to boss him around. Just like you boss me around, I can boss them around. And Sky Daddy goes, yeah, I'm going to give you somebody to boss around. It'll be so fun for you. And because he's supposedly made just like Sky Daddy, they're assigning each other's morals. Yeah, I'm going to go boss my own one around. And so that is how woman is made. So Adam is the pet of Sky Daddy, and now Eve is the pet of Adam. Now, so long as they're all obeying Sky Daddy and doing what he says, everything's perfect. You obey Sky Daddy and everything's just sunshine and roses and flowers. But Sky Daddy had another kid before. He didn't tell these two about that other kid because he's mad at that other kid. That other kid disobeyed him and said that he was a bad dad, and now he hates him. But Sky Daddy didn't kill him. He just changed him. Threw him out of the house and said, you don't get to live here anymore. You go live in this fiery, gross place, and everybody I don't like, I'm sending to you. He doesn't take any of this kid's powers away or anything, just banishes him and says he's never going to talk to him again. He doesn't take any of his kid's powers away, and in fact treats him sort of like an adversary now. You disobeyed me, now you're my enemy. We're adversaries. And sort of has a weird competition with him. So in this garden of obedience and ego stroking, Sky Daddy put a tree. Because, you know, he has to give something to the other kid, because secretly he still likes that kid too. He just doesn't want to be questioned by the new kids. Damn them, they're not allowed to question him. Obey. So Sky Daddy and the old kid plant a tree, and now the new kids don't have any knowledge. They don't have any wisdom. They don't actually have free will because they don't know what it is. They don't know how to engage in anything other than obedience because they have no knowledge, no wisdom. Wisdom is the ability to see patterns, put them together from your experience into a web of knowledge in which you view the world through. They didn't have any lens other than obey Sky Daddy and sunshine rainbows. Into the garden comes this other being that can talk and, whoa, you're kind of chill. What's up? Tells them about the tree. You'll learn things from it. Now, Sky Daddy had told them, if you eat from this tree, you will die. Well, Eve eats from the tree and doesn't die. Adam sees and goes, guess we won't die, eats from the tree. Now they have knowledge. Now they have understanding. Now they know they had no knowledge before. Now they can understand what consent is. Now they can understand that they were only obedient before because they didn't understand. Now they have the ability to see that Sky Daddy was just being bossy and controlling. And that pisses Sky Daddy off. Now they might question him just like the other kid did. And then what's he gonna do? Now he doesn't have any pets that are obedient to him. And he's really angry about that. But he figures, I can still make these pets obey me. So he tells these pets, now that you've done this thing, you have knowledge and you have stopped stroking my ego, right? And you are not obeying everything I say. Now you and everything you create, every being that comes from you is cursed to burn in hell with that other kid that I hate. Because you didn't do what I said, unless you stroke my ego just right. And you teach those kids how to stroke my ego just right. And if you give them knowledge I don't like, I'm going to burn you and I'm going to burn them. That's their origin story. That's how they think creation came to be. So when they're dealing with you, they assign those morals and ethics to you. Stop doing that automatic thing. And I know it's automatic. You have to build habits and build these barriers of protection for yourself and your psyche. And that comes through knowledge and honesty and critical thinking. It's actually proven the scientists that came up with the term Darvo, and I think it's psychologist or sociologist, I'm so sorry, I don't remember exactly which off the top of my head. The scientists that came up with the term Darvo, deny, attack, reverse, victim, and offender, used that to describe the way predators behave towards their victims. And you can see how this tactic is just a regular abuse tactic that's recycled over and over and over through the patriarchy. Once you can recognize it, once you've seen it, once you know what it is. Now, it is actually proven through psychology that once you understand what Darvo is and how it works, you are inoculated from falling victim to Darvo. Now that doesn't mean completely inoculated, you'll never be manipulated again. It just means that you're more likely to register when Darvo is happening and be less likely to just take it. There are several reasons that people do just take it. They feel like they have to because we live in capitalism and it has to do with their job, or they're in a DV situation and they have to keep the peace. I'm not shaming anyone that has to maintain themselves for the situation they're in. However, once you understand that tactic, you are less likely to fall prey to it. And almost all abusers use that tactic. Just think about it for a minute. Think about what it is: deny, attack, reverse, victim, and offender. Just knowing that is going to help you find the patterns of when that has happened to you in an argument or something. And maybe there's somebody in your life who uses that really often on you, you know, like a certain orange man that thinks that he's all powerful. He might use that a lot. Maybe some church leaders might use that a lot. You ever been in that situation where you're sitting in a room and somebody says something awful and then says, "I'm a Christian," like that's supposed to absolve it and tell you that they're a good person? And then they just divert everything from that heinous racist thing they just said and tell you, "Oh, y'all are always like this. You're always doing that thing where you're so sensitive." I'm so put upon that everybody is always assigning this label to me when all I did was at Starvo. And that's the pattern these abusers, particularly from this faith, use over and over and over to gaslight believers into staying within their bounds. And one of the key reasons they're able to keep people in their bounds is capitalism. The patriarchs took away all of the third spaces and made everybody afraid of their neighbors in order to have these really compliant beings that would be willing to give up their autonomy and their freedom and everything in order to maintain their control over the people under them, under the umbrella. Because that umbrella we were talking about is God, man, woman, child, except for men get to parse people out further into other categories. And that's why they otherize people through racism, through sexism, through homophobia, transphobia, and etc. All of these different ways that the Christian faith uses to tell people, to tell their believers that they have to be superior to others, are just ways to make people not willing to stand with and by their neighbors, not willing to get to know people and work with them. They need you to divide yourself from others. They need you to do that so that they can control you, because if you are alone and afraid of everybody, you are less likely to go to somebody for help. And you are less likely to leave them and find a better way because you don't know one exists. And that's how abusers work. They take your choices away. And they do so in manipulative and destructive ways. And this religion uses some of the most manipulative and destructive ways of grooming young people, especially into compliance and obedience, and compliance with some of the most heinous things you can imagine, such as mass killing children.
And so you talk about Canaan, obviously the flood, Sodom and Gomorrah is another example. Like, I think sometimes we lose sight of just how depraved those nations were. I know the children part adds just such an element of kind of, again, delicacy to it. Like you're saying that the children were wicked, or were they accountable for their actions? All these things, like the entire nation was corrupt completely.
How are children corrupt? Children don't even have the brain capacity, which is proven by science, to be corrupt. Their brains aren't even fully developed. If your brain's not fully developed, how can you be responsible for some corruptness? This is just an excuse to abuse children. You see how that umbrella is just smashing children under everybody else? We live in a society where children have no rights and parents have all the rights. And can you not see how this is a problem right now? They should be the ones that we are caring for above all. They should be the ones that we are protecting above all. They are the most vulnerable of us. And yet, this faith puts them below all else and requires that they be controlled and dominated the strictest. Because if they don't, they know that critical thinking and skepticism might creep in and make them less obedient. This faith doesn't care about growing well-rounded, healthy adult humans. This faith cares about growing hard-working, as they would say, obedient chattel. That is what this faith wants. You must be a sheep, but an obedient sheep.
Was just the point I want to start with, is I think sometimes we lose sight of that. Like, God gives plenty of opportunity for repentance, for turning the ship around, so to speak, and the nation just keeps going further and further. So yeah, that's what I wanted to kind of start with. Jack, any thoughts on this one as we get going?
Notice how it's only excusing God murdering everybody. Nobody says what they actually did that was wrong or anything like that, because it could be a variation of things. Let's look at the variation of things it could be, because there's this magnificent website called Vice Versus, and they have some of the coolest breakdown categories for how awful Christianity is among other religions, because I am an anti-theist. I love culture, hate religion, especially theologies that require killing of others. It's pretty heinous. Let's go. So, biblical God demands that you kill again and again. And as always, I'm going to include this down below as well. So it will be with the new Kick link. It will be with the video link for today's shit asses. It will be in all of that in the description box. So make sure you're checking down there. And you can, when after you've checked and got all the links that you want, you can write your snarky comment. It'll be fun for both of us. You know, I do answer all of the comments still. And I get pretty good ones mostly, actually. I shouldn't even say that, because I usually get pretty good comments. The people that comment are usually pretty good. I love it. I appreciate it. Do make your comments. I like reading them. So, God calls for killing over and over and over again, and you can be killed for so many crimes against his ego. So there's a certain special mountain that is just his. So if you touch his mountain, he will kill you. He says so, Exodus 19:12. Now, if you had bad parents and you say, "You're a bad parent, I don't like you, fuck you," he says that you should be killed. So you just have to deal with the bad parents and accept it, because they're your parent, and that's just that. You are beneath them, you are under them, and that's all there is. You will never be as good as them. And so if you are not a perfectly obedient little spawn, you must die. God said so, not me. I didn't make these rules. Do not allow a sorceress to live. A sorceress is a wise woman, a woman of science. Usually midwives and people that learned how to use herbs and things to save lives and birth babies. So anyone that might figure out that Sky Daddy is not real, scientists, somebody that might question all of that for a minute, yeah? Oh wait, it's confirmed in the next one. A man also, or a woman that is a wizard, shall surely be put to death. Leviticus 20:27. So, anyone of science. Is this why y'all are so anti-science and anti-vax? It is, isn't it? It is. It is. You suspended disbelief against Sky Daddy and put it all onto science? You're only skeptical of the scientists? Is it because of what the Sky Daddy said so? Did you know that Constantine asked people to write that book? Did you know that Constantine was a ruler, not a god? Did you know that Constantine just wanted taxes and money and for like Christians and pagans to get along? You didn't know that? Now you know that. Okay, whoever sacrifices to any god other than the Lord must be destroyed. Exodus 22:20. So there's other gods and he knows it, but his ego is so fragile and he is so insecure that if you don't stroke it just right, you must die. So which one of the crimes? Which one of these crimes did the Sodom and Gomorrah and all those other ones that these gabbly young men were talking about do? Oh my goodness, this list is so long. If a man commits adultery with another man's wife, both the adulterer and the adulteress are put to death. Oh my goodness gravy. There are so many crimes. Which one was it? So, basically, if you defy God in any one of these ways that hurt his ego, you must die. There's a list, but they don't tell us which ones those guys did. But that's okay. I'm going to put this in the description box and you'll have the list. You can check it yourself. And I do think that you should. I think you should check out all of the sources and things that I give y'all. I put them there for a reason. I do engage this work in honesty. I know that these conversations are hard to have, and they're very taboo because we've been taught not to discuss politics or religion because you would argue about them. The reason is because they want to be able to control people, and they feel like if they don't allow you to ever talk to anybody about it or question it, then you won't question it. And that's proven to be true. If you don't discuss these things with people that disagree with you, you'll never question it. And they require you not to question these things in order to maintain that control over you. What's wild is I hear y'all sometimes say this about other phenomenon and completely miss it about the patriarchy and this phenomenon. And I'm fairly certain it's because y'all really like the privilege and you really like feeling in control. You really like feeling like you're the most special. And you don't want to admit that you're just like everybody else. And you definitely don't want to admit that women are just as good and probably better, because we aren't the ones out here advocating violence. We're the ones that are always advocating for compromise. And let's be really real. Even the archaeologists will tell you that if you laid human history out, the patriarchy would only be on the last few pages. It's a failing experiment that is likely to eradicate our species, which is incredibly sad because we're a really cool species that is being stunted in its growth by this sort of thought-ending ideology. Now that we've seen them excuse genocide, let's see what they say about slavery.
Yeah, my mind also goes to Leviticus 25. I just came across this for something else the other day. As for your male and female slaves, this is verse 44 of Leviticus 25. Your male and female slaves whom you may have, you may acquire male and female slaves from the pagan nations that are around you. Then, too, it is out of the sons of the sojourners who live as aliens among you that you may gain acquisition, and out of their families who are with you, whom they will have produced in your land, they also may become your possession. You may even bequeath them to your sons after you to receive as a possession. You can use them as permanent slaves. But in respect to your countrymen, the sons of Israel, you shall not rule with severity over one another.
They're saying that any immigrants they can use as slaves, that they can go venture into other countries and steal people and use them as slaves. This is the faith that accepts and okays enslavement. And I would like for you all to note that there are currently concentration camps being built here in America with immigrants in them. What do you think they plan to do?
So with their countrymen, they had the Jubilee laws where they would be freed after a certain time. With the foreigner, they could acquire those slaves and keep them. And so that is chattel slavery, and it's something the Mosaic law allows for. And so with these discussions, one of the hardest things, we kind of said this a little bit with the genocide point, but it's especially true with this one and the next point we're going to get into. we've got to take ourselves out of our 21st century viewpoint, which is a good viewpoint, and I think is
What he's saying is you must not think with your current experience and understanding of humanity. You must take the empathy that you have learned to employ for people out of this situation so that you can excuse God's evil. Because God tells you that he's good, and so he must be. So you must believe that he is good and make excuses for the evil he does. And you're allowed to do evil like him, so long as you do it like his rules say. And the men that want to do awful things eat this up. They love it. It is an excuse for them to be able to hurt other people.
the blessing of Christian development of 2,000 years of.
It has nothing to do with Christian development. It is secular development. It is stepping away from these dangerous religions and being honest about how dangerous and awful they are that has gotten us where we are, sir.
The world is in a better place than it was, and this is better than that. But on the other hand, getting out of the biases that gives us to look at it from the world that they were in, which is a world where
He wants to get out of the biases, not come face to face with them, not check them, not understand why do we address this in this way now? What have we learned? What has science taught us? What has secular thought taught us? What has education in a way that we don't focus on suspending disbelief, but we focus on skepticism and questioning everything? What has that done for us as a species? These people would have you go back to a time when we didn't have electricity in order to maintain their system of hierarchy.
there was slavery. In fact, slavery pretty much is the worldwide human default throughout history. In fact, there are places where
It is not the human default. It is the awful oppression of people that men have insisted upon in order to feed their own egos throughout history. It is a system of abuse that should be done away with and should have long since been done away with. And yet we have men like this that still believe in a dangerous deity that tells them to enslave is okay. And that is why it is legal to enslave prisoners, and that is why they're building concentration camps full of immigrants, because their Bible says that they can make immigrants their slaves, and they tell you that the crime they committed is to come here at all. And so guess what? Now we can use them, and they pile them in concentration camps and make money off of them, because those concentration camps are private prison companies. And this is the rhetoric that excuses it. This is the reason that it is happening. This is why it is permitted. Do you hear these men saying it's wrong?
it's still basically going on today. And so that's just something that has been part of human life. Now, why do
See, it's just something that happens. No one knows why. I mean, it's not our fault. We aren't okay in Gear Muppet. It's just something that happens. You just have to deal with it. It's just something that happens.
Fuck you very much, sir.
we think it's so wrong? Well, because of what we've developed.
It is so wrong, you shit ass.
Things like that. That's a blessing that we have developed that, but that is something that has to develop over time, and it did develop out of the scriptures.
It had to be fought for. It had to be won because some weak, weenie, submissive, and breedable little men did not want to do the work themselves. They wanted somebody else to do it for them, just like their emotional labor. They want somebody else to do it for them, just like every other thing.
They don't want to have to do it. They don't want to have to try. Me.
And so they enslaved people to do that for them because they couldn't make themselves liked and likable and ask for help. They had to oppress and abuse because they aren't liked or likable, and they know it. And they don't want to have to do the work and learn things and like be decent people. Just do what I says. Sky Daddy gets to have people do what he says. I want people to do what I says too. He said I can. Me. And that's what you little fuckers sound like.
Developed out of, even in the New Testament where they acknowledge slavery, Paul a number of times, and when he says Christian masters treat your slaves well, he doesn't say set them free. He says treat them well. Ephesians 6 has that. And
keep in mind, we have not once heard them say that it's not okay or it's bad. He's just telling you what his Sky Daddy says and how his Sky Daddy says it's okay, so it must be okay. Also, note how much white man this is. Like, I believe they also might be those really disgusting Mormon-flavored white men, which, y'all are the worst. I'm just, like, some genocidal creep shows over on the Mormon side. I said what I said. Go suck an elf.
Colossians 3 and 4. And so we got to look at it, and the first thing is, well, clearly it was a sin and God was just making allowance for it. That's not really what it says. God was, we can again just jump ourselves into it and think, all right, this is 1860s America, this is a sin, and there's a lot going on.
Well, that's just,
I have never seen them say it was a sin. They're just assigning that to it now. This is the way their faith works. They get called out, they've done something wrong, but their Sky Daddy says it's good. So, I mean, maybe the people got it wrong, and, don't call us racist. We're the good guys. Our Sky Daddy says so. Why are you picking on me? Instead of taking accountability and being like, no, that was messy. We should probably address these beliefs and how we got to this point with them. And why is this awful being so excusing of heinous things? I don't think that we should believe in a being that says that we can just enslave people. Not okay. Instead, these white men are like, well, Sky Daddy says so, and so it just is. It's okay. We're allowed to do it, and we should do it. It's good to do it because Sky Daddy says so. And, it was just the way it was. It was normal. It's nobody's fault. It was just normal. Why are you mad at me? It's fucking absurd. Can y'all not see? Or are y'all going to continue to be new here and not do any critical thinking? You just gonna get mad? Oh, I know. That stinged somebody. You aren't asking yourself questions. You're just mad at me, huh? I thought so. You know that when you feel those feelings and it stings, you should probably ask yourself questions about why. It's a tactic that will help you manage that anger and emotion. If you figure out why it upsets you that I said that. No, it's not about me, boo. I don't need to know why it upsets you. Only you need to know why it upsets you. I'm not the one having that feeling. No, breathe. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Figure out what upset you so much and process it. I don't care. You do. That's why you're the one sitting with the icky feeling, not me. Cool. Glad we could sort that out. All right, y'all. Let's see what else these disgusting men have to say. Let's see. Is there more?
on this.
Yeah. Philemon is obviously a place to go just because that is the one book that really is all about slavery. It is, I know it's not, but he's appealing to Philemon as a slave owner of Onesimus, talking about treating him as a brother. Like, he's sending Onesimus back on is wrong for you to run, but after he's become a Christian, he's sending him back to his master. And yes, he's appealing to Philemon to treat him as a brother in Christ and to make sure that he's doing, but he's having to appeal to him as a brother, like, hey, I've done you some solids, and so I need you to do me a solid and receive Onesimus.
You see how insidious white supremacy is? This is a benevolent oppression. They're giving you so much. They're so nice to you while they're abusing you and oppressing you. I mean, they're giving you so much. You should be just grateful. You should do what they say because, they gave you so much. You shouldn't want freedom and autonomy because they will just tell you what to do and that will make it easier for you, and you should just want that. Like, it's so much pressure to be a whole person. Let them take that for you, but be good because they're giving you so much. I mean, never mind that they beat you and raped you. No. They gave you a roof. They fed you. Never mind that they beat you and whipped you and forced you to do manual labor. They fed you a meal. You got 2 whole meals a day and a fucking bedroll to sleep on. Why are you upset? You see how this Darvo shit works? Are you starting to see it? So how they would reverse the victim and offender. Ugh, how dare you treat God like that? God gives you everything. He gave you life. And you're so mean to him. You would say those mean things to him after everything he did for you. Watch for Darvo. And let's watch these gentlemen Darvo us a little more.
But that's with the full understanding that he has every right to punish Onesimus as a runaway slave. He just does. That is not taken away from the text. It is Paul appealing to, I've helped you, so you need to help me and take care of Onesimus here.
See, you're just property. You're not allowed to have feelings. And it's his right to abuse you. And so you should just deal with it. I mean, it's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. We can't change things because it's just the way it is. Nobody has any power. It's just the way it is. You can't make choices, even though you have this thing called free will. It's just the way it is.
Other than, well, why would you ever do this? It's because that's the way of the world. We have to, as you guys have said, we have to get out of this.
You keep setting an example and the world keeps following it because y'all are loud, abusive, and violent. Because you are incapable of being cooperative and working with people because it would hurt your ego too much. Because you want power and control and y'all dominate and insist upon it to the detriment of our entire species. And you, sirs, are why we might go extinct. And you, sirs, are why it's all men until it's no men. And you, sirs, are disgusting white supremacist, racist pieces of filth sitting here excusing slavery and genocide.
This last 100, 200 years of understanding, and look at, this is the way of the world for literally 5,800 years, up until everything took place and the abolition, slavery started to take place around the world. This was life. I'm not saying that's ideal. I'm not saying that it's, that we're not, as you said, Jack, in a better place. But man, putting modern things on there, can you even imagine? It's there are so many things to the ancient mind that we can't begin to fathom that were just normal to them.
They didn't have the education that we have. That speaks to secularness. That speaks to how good it is when we let go of this imaginary, dangerous deity and engage with the world as it exists in front of us, with the things that are at play in our current lives. Why are y'all looking to go to some fantasy ever land where you be scooped out and be a fluffy cloud and not have to think and feel, when there is so much cool stuff to experience and feel and touch and squish on? What is wrong with you freaks? Why are you so afraid to live?
Absolutely normal. The idea of an atheist was, you'd be considered such a moron back then because everybody believed in some God. It was undeniable. It didn't have to be the God.
That's not true. I mean, maybe the majority of people believed in deities, but that's just not true. Y'all are really the most egocentric motherfuckers on the planet. For real, though.
I mean, there are a lot of false gods, obviously, but the idea of an atheist is a new concept in a 21st century lens. Oh, we've arrived. Like, no, we treat them as though they're stupid. We treat them as though ancient man didn't have it together like they did. They just had different.
See, that's a control tactic. We treat you like. We shun you from our communities and talk bad to you. We teach you that you're the only third space that's free that you're allowed to be in is the church, and give you no other outlets and resources, so that you are confined here. And then we're going to shun you and shame you and abuse you and reach in your pocket and your wallet and control your man card and tell you when you're allowed to have it and when you're not allowed to have it, so that you stay obedient.
Different way of doing things in the world. And so, yes, there's a lot of different types of slavery, and some people chose this. What we look at today with the 40-hour work week, and a lot of times as you get into lawyers or,
That's coercion, and that there is no choice in that. If you're coerced into it, there's not a choice. This just tells me you don't understand the way consent works, sir, and that's another problem. That's another problem. All of this is a problem, and you just keep piling them up, little man.
You're talking 80 to 100-hour weeks. You're a slave. I know you're getting paid, but it's the same thing as what they'd have back then, which is food, shelter, safety, because if a slave under Abraham or whatever comes to Abraham, like, Abraham's going to protect him from the surrounding nations and from the wilderness around him, where he's going to die of starvation, die of dehydration, or die from some marauders coming in and killing him.
You see how this is just Darvo at play? Never mind that they're going to abuse you. They're going to do all these good things for you, and you should just accept the abuse because you get the other things. That's just the way it is. We can't change it. They can't treat you better. We can't be humane. Like, what even are you talking about? How abnormal are you? Do you see how this Darvo works? Because they are putting it in play. Take your inoculation. Spoonful of sugar helps your medicine go down. I don't have any candies to give you. You should buy me candies, though, because I could use a spoonful of sugar after this.
So he has safety. Yes, he's working for it, but he's working for things that he receives. And in the chattel type slavery of what we have, there still is there were still things that were holding them in place to, no, you can't kill them, beat them so severely. It does talk about, condones beating, but you can't kill them because then that's punishable if you end up killing a slave. And even the taking of a wife. And I mean, there are things like that the text does speak.
Ooh, he just put wife in the slave category. Huh. Ladies, y'all didn't miss that, right? Please tell me y'all didn't miss that. I'm gonna need for y'all to be paying attention, because he really did just slip that in there. Yeah. He did. He just slipped it right in there. Just no respect for consent at all. Just sleep.
In terms of how to treat them. The surrounding culture already had slavery, and it was horrible for the slaves. The law of Moses comes in, and it makes their life livable. It makes them, it puts boundaries on something that was boundaryless before this, or was horrible for them. So
note how they keep saying them, because they know that they weren't of the category that could be enslaved, that they were the ones that would be slavers. So you see how they're just excusing it, because it would never be them. They wouldn't be the ones that would be enslaved. I mean, how could it affect them? Like, it's just a thing. You shouldn't be so upset by it.
If you reframe it from that point of view, then the law of Moses saved countless number of slaves from horrible fates because of the boundaries that it put on this.
Yeah, that's.
You know what would have saved? You know what would have saved people from horrible fates? You know what would have saved people? Not enslaving them. That would have really helped the slaves, is just to not enslave them. You know, it would help the descendants and stuff to just call it out and say that it was fucked up and wrong and shouldn't have been done. To just say that's heinous. gross. We need to move forward from that and put that part of our history in the rubbish bin to never be freaking born again. We need to make sure we're teaching people how gross that was. No, that's not what they're doing though. Because their God said that you have to teach everybody and your children and everything, because he's going to burn all your children. So they teach their children this slavery excusing instead. Instead of teaching them slavery is bad, they teach them, well, God said it was okay and it's just the way the world was. And so you have a bunch of these people that believe that they should be able to enslave people. You have a bunch of these people that vote to enslave people that have committed crimes. And you have a bunch of these people that voted to put migrants in concentration camps and children in cages. And it really ought to be them in mentals. I'm having trouble with the licensing. I'm working on it though. I really do want mentals. We need them. We gotta save our species. And we have to finish the rest of this next week. We have made it to the end of this week's video. And for those of you that made it, I so appreciate you. It's hard to have these conversations sometimes. And I know I come off pretty sarcastic and dismissive. I have a lot of pain and trauma with this stuff too. Otherwise, I don't know. Maybe I could be robotic and unfeeling. I don't think you would want robotic and unfeeling. You probably wouldn't listen to robotic and unfeeling. Hell, half of you ain't gonna listen to me. So I do appreciate you coming and being here and making it to the end. And those of you that are unpacking this, the reason that they don't want you discussing it is because they don't want you engaging your critical thinking. If you engage your critical thinking, they stop being able to control you. And that's all they really want. So there are resources that you can use to help you get through the really suck unpacking and deconstructing of these dangerous faiths. And there are so many good resources here on YouTube. You have Jimmy Snow in the Line. You have The Line, which has multiple shows and channels. Chewed Gum is great for unpacking purity culture and always has some of the best hosts. You have the Deconstruction Zone. You can go talk to the Knitting Cult Lady. There are so many amazing, beautiful resources for unpacking this. There's Owen Unfiltered. I could go on and on naming amazing creators that do this work, that are there to help you do this, and they will have conversations with you. And if you want to check, do you want to check your critical thinking? Do you want to check your proof against them? They have call-in shows. So you can call them in and they advocate for you to call in so that you can engage your critical thinking. And if you engage them honestly, you could have one of the most enlightening, beautiful conversations of your life. Do know they are some energy matching motherfuckers. So, come correct if you want to be treated with correctness. I know that this is a hard conversation and it's hard stuff to unpack. The abuse and grooming goes deep and it's long lasting. Hundreds at this point, about 2,000 years old in the coding for this. And that is just the tip of the iceberg of our history. It hasn't always been this way. And if you're American on Turtle Island, it wasn't this way until a few hundred years ago. So there is hope. We can change. We do have power. And it doesn't have to just be this way. That is a choice. To not make things better, to not improve, is a choice. Going forward, I really hope that y'all choose humanity, goodness, and one another. And I hope you choose to be intentional in your humanity. All right. We have therapy prompts. Okay, I have to answer therapy prompts. Here we go. Last week's therapy prompts. What guilty pleasures are uniquely you and make you proud to declare, yes, I'm still watching? I don't know if they're uniquely me, but they're very me, and it's trash TV. I watch a couple of those weird relationship shows, like Love is Blind, which, oof, toxic men. icky. There's been some really gross ones, some very cool ones that I would not put in the man category, but y'all know I think that the ones that don't want to be labeled as toxic men should call themselves something else anyway. And there's some of those. I also watch like 90 Day Fiance and stuff. I do believe in this project, and I spend probably more energy listening to ridiculous men than I should. I also just, I don't know, I can zone out and just not think about it and disappear. I don't know. It's my trash TV, and I do it to clear my head sometimes, and I'm not sorry. I do it, and yes, I'm still watching. Next. What physical accomplishments or lack of would qualify you as a record holder, or at least get you a stellar participation trophy? Physical accomplishment? I sculpt butts. Lots of butts on lots of things. I will put a butt on anything. I would definitely get a butt award, a butt sculpting award. For putting it on random things. In fact, on Saturday, I'm going to get an award for making butts on drop spindles. I'm not sorry, I'm doing it. It's gonna be hilarious and fun. I am a sculptor, and I will sculpt butts. All right. Oh my gravy. Okay. I have to give you next week's prompts. Holy. And get giggling and get all silly. What expert lies do you tell yourself and honestly believe every time? For the good of your mental health. I don't lie to myself. I know this is supposed to be for next week, but I don't lie to myself. So it doesn't help me. I know that maybe it does help other people, and I don't know. I don't actually think that it does. I think lying to yourself and telling yourself things like Sky Daddy are real when they're not are putting problems and roadblocks in your place that you just don't see. So yeah, I just don't do that. So I'm going to go ahead and just give you the other prompts. So because I don't do that. And because of the way it's set up, I'm going to give you 3 prompts instead of just the 2. So bonus prompt for you. All right, here it is. What's the absurdest thing you've ever spent way too much fucking money on? Would you do it again? Now, the next one is grab your phone. What carefully staged photos bring you so much fucking joy and pride? What photos taken accidentally or unexpectedly bring you shame? How can you get over yourself enough to find joy in them anyway? All right, let's go. Those are good prompts for next week. And I hope that y'all do engage the therapy prompts. I set the example of doing them with you because I want you to do that. Getting to know yourself and treating yourself well are the keys to being more intentional in your humanity and having better engagements and experiences in their life. And ultimately, I want that for you, even when I want to mental you. I would always rather you choose to be liked and likable and work on being better and taking yourself out of that category altogether. I know, I'm kind of a shit ass. It's okay. I would offer to let you cancel me in chat, but you haven't earned your way onto Purple Team yet. You could work on it, though. You could try to be liked and likable, and maybe someday we will tell you how to join us. If you try to join us now acting feral, though, you'll just get booted. It's a safe space. We kick people out. We're like, no. However, you can come hang out in Green Team. I mean, you could still end up kicked out of Green Team if you're too feral, but you could get away with a little more. And we do fun stuff on the weekends at Green Team. Fridays, we look at this video and whatever is premiering on Friday, and we do a discussion of another topic. And then on Saturdays, we do music and games, which we do generally Jackbox games, interactive stuff, and chat brings music and we just vibe out. It's really great. And Sundays, we do nerding, and that just varies. It varies. Sometimes last week we did AI. I guess a few months ago we did a whole musical, Todrick, a Todrick Hall musical. It's so good. So yeah, come join us if you want on Kickside to get a little bit more engagement if you want that. Otherwise, make your comments below. I do still respond to them all. And if you want to be really, really nice to me, you can help me pay my exorbitant electric bill, because like those AI monsters are stealing money from me, and it's very hard. I could use help. It's pretty bad. We live in where a slumlord put these space heaters in every room, and it is wildly bad. So if you want to help there, that is that scanny thing right there. I'm getting better at pointing at these. And if you need to have some kind of merch or something to say for the money you spent, I have this thing right over there. I have several options: stickers, mugs, shirts, and never forget that ice melts democracy, y'all. Also, do that thing you do. Every time you say a bad thing about you or think a bad thing about you and you catch you doing it, say 2 good things out loud to you. It's hard and it feels tedious, and it's a habit that will change how you speak to you. And changing how you speak to you changes how you view and engage with the world, and you can have such magical, wonderful experiences if you do it. And I wish for you to treat you well. So remember, you are the only you that is going to be with you from the minute you gain consciousness to the minute you lose it. Be good to you, because you're the only one you get. All right, y'all. Go forth, be intentional in your humanity, be good to yourselves, be good to each other, and I will see you next week. And I wish some of you a very, very good week. And I wish some of you a week. And I wish some of you a sucker L. I'm just saying, some of you should go suck a L. You're the ones acting a fool out here, not me. I'm just telling you, it sucks to be around you. You should work on being liked and likable. Okay, I'll see you next week. Bye-bye. No, see you later. No, go. It's over now. It's time to go. You have to go now. No, you can come and see us at the other team. Goodbye. I see you later.